Hey folks, as the festive colder months of the year have hit us, unless you're somewhere down here, then enjoy your summer folks. I've been in the mood to do some sort of winter Christmas themed video, and where better to start than the chilly, but oh so beautiful Hebra region. More specifically, the vast mountain range that looks over the region, the Hebra Mountains. Why, you ask? Well, the Hebra Mountains, whilst peaceful looking, actually hold various mysteries across the mountains that haven't been answered. From possible long-lost settlements to natural phenomena, the Hebra Mountains have more than meets the eye. I want to highlight just how interesting this location is for its many mysteries.
Yo, quick editing plug. I forgot to say, there is a new video out on the Cavecast channel right now, featuring myself, Triforce Trends, and Zing. You can check it out right after this video and listen to our thoughts on our favourite Zelda locations. The Cavecast project is really important to all of us, and it would be such an honour if you would check it out. It's pretty entertaining and really fun to film, and it's more Zelda content, so check it out after this video. Thank you, I appreciate it, and now, on to this video.
I recommend that you get yourself comfy, and as always folks, be sure to go and grab yourself a delicious snack and drink. Send a photo my way for a chance of them being featured in my next video right here. And let's explore the mysteries of the Hebra Mountains across Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Let's start off with a more surface level mystery, one that most players are at least familiar with. Deep within the mountain range, by the north summit, we find a mysterious stone door, a man-made structure keeping us out. However, if we make our way in by taking the walls down, you'll make a magnificent discovery. This is the home of the Hebra Great Skeleton, one of 3 great skeletons found across Hyrule, the other 2 being found in Eldin and the Gerudo Desert. Most players who have played Breath of the Wild and or Tears of the Kingdom will be familiar with this location. Since the beginning, back in 2017, there has been countless theories and ideas as to what exactly these are the remains of. Well, it's not hard to figure out, as there's a questline involving these remains titled Leviathan Bones, indicating that these are the remains of Leviathans. We could already make that assumption based on their look though, particularly the head shape, which matches 1-for-1 with Levias seen in Skyward Sword. The question is more, are these the same kind of Leviathans or just generic ones? The Leviathan Bones questline is quite interesting, as not only are we asked to go and investigate the remains, but we also hear 3 different theories from the group of NPCs that give us this quest. Akra, Garshon, and Onya of the Serene Stable can be found talking about the remains, each having their own unique theories about what happened to them. Onya believes that an ice age killed them, Akra believes it was a volcanic explosion, and Garshon believes they went extinct due to droughts. The truth behind these theories is that we simply do not know. There is no way for us to make an accurate conclusion on what killed these great creatures off. The other big question. By the time frame these games take place, we haven't seen any Leviathans in quite some time. There's the Windfish from Link's Awakening, but even that game takes place a long time before now, with Skyward Sword being even further back, because it's literally the origin story game of the series. It is truly a mystery as to how these remains came to be, but part of this mystery I often feel isn't talked about is why is this one sealed off, and who exactly did this? The easy answer would be that someone did this just to protect and preserve them, but could there be something more to it? For all we know, these Leviathans were sacred deities like the ones we've seen before, or maybe they were just creatures from a time where they were more commonly around. The funny thing about the questline is that each theory goes towards each location. Theoretically speaking, the theory of volcanic explosion would explain the Elden remains, a drought would explain the desert remains, and an ice age would explain the Hebra remains, which to my interpretation is Nintendo's way of saying, we have no answer. Make it what you want. Which is often the way things are, leaving the Hebra Great Skeleton one of Hebra's many great mysteries. Off to the southwest of the Hebra mountain range, we can find Lake Kilsie, an isolated body of water with no Hylian in sight. It's nothing really other than a lake, but hiding here is a mystery, a man-made mystery. You see, Lake Kilsie, whilst extremely isolated and out of touch with human contact, has man-made structures here. The lake contains docks on either side, which is odd considering there doesn't appear to be any use for this lake. Now, nobody would be taking this as a route of passage up the mountains, due to how extremely steep it is here. It's a small detail, but one that has always intrigued me as to why these docks exist. Yes, that's how much of a Zelda nerd I am. I care about the existence of some docks. Oh, we are cooked. There are 3 docks in total. One is on the south side, one in the middle, and one at the north side. But the odd thing is, there isn't really an easy way to get up these ledges by the docks. Link has to jump down and climb out, which for the average Hylian isn't too practical. If the Rito from their nearby settlement came here for whatever reason, they could fly out of course, but that doesn't explain the docks. Why are they here with no easy access to even get to them? Well, I think I might have an answer. Prior to the events of Breath of the Wild, the Hyrulean royal family and Sheikah tribe excavated the ancient divine beasts 100 years before the game took place. Now, we don't know the exact digging locations for each beast. Whilst we see glimpses through cutscenes, we don't know for sure. However, each was buried within its region, meaning divine beast Vamedo was dug up somewhere in the Hebra region. My thinking is that Lake Kilsie was the digging site for Vamedo. It certainly seems like a big enough space. The water could have formed from all the snow that would have fell in, and perhaps melted against the rock. Or perhaps the lake was already here, and these ledges were just made more from the digging. It would explain the docks along with the steep ledges, as if someone has been digging here. The lake is almost like a half-empty pool with such high walls around it. It's also entirely possible that during the excavation process that some land fell, causing a small avalanche perhaps, adding to why it looks this way. I can't think of any other reason for these docks when the lake itself is so not easy to access. This is obviously just my personal theory, and isn't confirmed, but it's certainly worth a shout here. In an old video I made, I even theorised that perhaps whilst this excavation took place, there were small temporary homes built up by the Sternita's secret hot spring, but that is even more speculative. I basically just saw some wood lying around and thought, hey, maybe there were some lodges here. Was Lake Kilsie the digging site for Divine Beast Vamedo, or did Nintendo simply just add in some docks to a lake, not thinking a random Scotsman would analyse them to the bone? I don't think we'll ever know the answer to this great mystery. A defining feature of the stunning Hebra Mountains is the peak. It's quite the sight to behold viewing Hyrule from up here, but what's interesting about it is if you view it from the other perspective down below, there is a massive chunk taken clean out of the peak, almost unnaturally, at least in appearance. What's interesting is the texture and odd shape. It's different from the other rock and ice we see across the region, as if this was made and not naturally formed. The mystery of Hebra's bizarre looking peak is one we can confidently assume the answer on, however. It's commonly believed that this is the result of a Divine Beast laser beam, occurring over 10,000 years ago during the events of the First Calamity. As the Titans were battling things out, presumably from central Hyrule, a rogue laser beam shot from one of the beasts. It flew off into the distance from Hyrule Field and carved out this unique shape. That story fits the bill pretty well, as it's rounded, like the beams we see the Divine Beast blast out. Fellow Zelda tuber Zeltic made a really great video on this topic a while back if you want to hear more about this one in depth. It's a defining feature of the mountain, and whilst the answer appears more than confirmed, it is technically still a mystery, with no official answer from Nintendo. But I would agree that it is safe to assume this is the work of a Divine Beast laser beam. Now, Tears of the Kingdom brought on some of its own wee mysteries to the region. Most, if not all, are rather small, but there is one in particular that I've been wondering about, as it isn't really explained in great detail. That mystery is the true origins of the Stormwind Ark, better known as the Wind Temple. In my opinion, a good dungeon with a really awesome concept. Oh, and don't get me started on the music on the climb up, or the dungeon itself, or the boss fight. Oh, it's all class, man. It's a flying ship with a storm around it, caused by the dungeon boss that is locked within the brig. The mystery here is, what exactly are the origins of this ship? We're told some surface level details, but the actual origin of when and why it was created is a mystery. Early in the questline to venture up to the dungeon, before we actually know what it is, as all you see from down in Rito Village is a storm, we learn that the Stormwind Ark is in these days known for nothing more than being part of an old folk song to tell kids, and that long ago during a different sort of upheaval, the Rito were saved by a flying ship. That's the tale. Not many Rito actually believe in its existence, and understandably so. But alas, this magnificent creation does exist, and is back thanks to the current upheaval. This past event mentioned by Sake could be referring to the first great calamity over 10,000 years ago, the very same one that we are talking about when it comes to the peak. Whilst likely, it isn't definite. Regardless, where did the ship even come from to begin with? I understand that it's said to have saved the Rito in the past, but who made the ship, and where did it come from? The architecture is Old Rito, Ancient Rito even I should say. Across the whole dungeon there aren't any details or information hinting at its origins, which is a shame as environmental storytelling is typically brilliant in Zelda games. But up here, it's all a mystery. I don't like not having even a suggestion of an answer, but we simply just don't know why this ship was originally built, when it was built, who built it. Perhaps it was built in preparation for that first upheaval event, perhaps the first calamity, or maybe just as a precaution for any events like that. It's an okay assumption, but we really don't know. Other than that, I just can't say much more about it. Two of the other dungeons in the game are similar. Los Gorondia and the Lightning Temple both scream lore, but in reality only have surface level information, and the rest is a mystery. Those are some major mysteries of the Hebra Mountains, but there are smaller mini mysteries, as well as just cool things around the area that I think are important to highlight. The Hebra Mountains are home to 3 secret springs, one of which we already mentioned earlier. The Sternida Secret Hot Spring, beside Lake Kilsie, but there are 2 others within the mountains. There's Gotham's Secret Hot Spring in the north, and Sherfin's Secret Hot Spring in the northwest. They are just hot springs, but it's never explained where the names come from. I've always assumed that they're named after people, perhaps notable figures from the Hebra region, or explorers, but it's a mystery. The Hebra Mountains and region as a whole is home to some very unique wildlife that can only be found here, from the white pigeon to the snowcoat fox and cold-footed wolf, to larger creatures like the Tabantha moose, great horned rhinoceros, and the grizzly maw bear. There's even a rare fish that can be found exclusively in the lake near Rito Village, the hearty salmon. These rare creatures also extend to cold varieties of enemies that can be found all over the mountains. There's a really cool questline where we must find a rumoured stall horse in the snowfield just beside the mountains, requiring Link to take a picture of one and show one Ellie at the snowfield stables. There's a snowball bowling minigame not too far down the road in Breath of the Wild. And of course, you can shield surf down a killer route if you make your way to Selmie's spot by the peak of the mountain. Selmie lives up here alone on top of the mountain, and I absolutely love that for her. But the coolest thing of all that falls into the category of mystery is what we can see in the Hebra night sky. I'd recommend making your way to the peak, or even just Selmie's spot, or anywhere in the mountains to see this for yourself. On clear nights, you can sometimes see stunning auroras in the Hebra night sky that dance above the mountains. Much like these sights in real life, the reason they happen isn't really known. They're a natural phenomena that looks incredibly beautiful. If you want to learn even more about the Hebra region, I found this cool article from Nintendo that's almost like a newsletter for the entire region. I sourced some of my info for this video from there, so I'll link it below if you want to check it out. Thanks a ton for watching, folks. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then be sure to drop a cheeky wee like down below, as it really helps the video out, and also be sure to subscribe if you're not already, as that helps the channel out. What do you think of these mysteries? Do you have any theories and answers of your own that you'd like to share? If so, let me know down in the comments. As always, a massive and very special thank you goes to my channel supporters for their incredible backing of the channel and helping to make videos just like this one all the more possible. I offer some perks such as access to my inside scoop video posts, a shout out when you join, and your name at the end of all of my videos. Check out the supporting links below if this is something that interests you. I also have all my social pages linked below to keep up to date with me, and of course my Discord server, where you can chat to myself and many other wonderful Zelda fans. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night, folks. Have a wonderful Christmas, another holiday if you celebrate something else, or just a fantastic 25th if you don't celebrate anything. Whatever the case, I hope you have a good one. And until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.